Well, as I mentioned, we're in the second week of this series looking at this biblical word of shalom. It is easily one of the most significant theological terms. It appears over 250 times, and it's one of those Hebrew words where we just don't have a really good English counterpart to fully describe. So through these 3 weeks, we're just kind of looking at this word from three distinct angles. Last week we looked at how shalom means good. It's good. God created good, meaning nothing has to be added, nothing has to be taken away. It's good. It's perfect. Right? If you missed that one, make sure you check it out online or go to the app and make sure you catch all three of these because they all kind of interplay. But today we're looking at shalom meaning rest. And so for this morning, we're going to just define it, especially from the Old Testament, New Testament. It's a little different on what it kind of entails. But we're definitely also have to do a little bit of diagnosing our own culture when it comes to this word rest, diagnosing ourselves on rest, and hopefully giving some tips and tricks on what this could look like to take Jesus up on the offer. So to start out with, in the Old Testament, I'm probably going to go too far. There we go. In the Old Testament, the word rest means this feeling of settledness. And so it means having land where I belong, having a life no longer driven by fear or threat, having stability after chaos. I got the chance to go down to Phoenix just for a quick 2-day little pastor conference. But I was talking to a guy who had served as a pastor in Houston for 25 years. I just asked him, I'm like, man, what was that like with the hurricane and the floods? And he was like, chaos. He goes, it was crazy. He goes, thankfully, God has given us some rest here and I go, that's it. So that's the definition of Old Testament shalom. It is sort of this peace, this rest after chaos, having land where I belong, no longer driven. In Deuteronomy 12, we get kind of a snapshot of what this means. For you have not yet come to rest to the inheritance that the Lord your God is giving you. But when you go over the Jordan and you live in the land that the Lord your God is giving you to inherit, and when he gives you rest from all your enemies around so that you live in safety. Again, it's just a snapshot of what this word really entails from an Old Testament perspective. True rest is a fruit of shalom. It's a byproduct. The word shalom means wholeness, harmony, flourishing. So rest is what it feels like inside of shalom. And it's important to remember that biblically speaking, shalom is not just a feeling. Shalom, by definition, is a person. When God created, he created the world in harmony and flourishing because he is shalom. He created out of his shalom. When he created humanity, we were made within shalom because we had the image of God, perfect relationship with him. It wasn't until we messed it up by saying, hey, God, I think I need to add a little bit. I think I need to take a little, God, I think I can enhance your recipe. Right? Any cooks in the room? Anyone have to cook in the room? When you get something just right and then someone comes along. I remember one time I was coloring with my daughter, right? And when I color with my daughter, it's like you work on yours, I work on mine, right? And then she gets up and leaves and I'm still I'm almost done, right? But one time I was coloring and she literally came over and goes, Daddy, this color. And she started coloring and I was like, what? I get into coloring. But that feeling, and that's what broke shalom, was humanity's arrogance that we could do it ourselves. And we have been stuck in this curse ever since. The primary thing that holds us back from shalom is our incessant desire to be in control, to be God. I'll do it myself. Now, in the In the New Testament, rest refers to relief or refreshment. I think most of the things that we would connect to it probably pertain to this definition. Laying down a burden, kind of catching your breath, relief after strain. This is the rest we see Jesus speaks of in Matthew 11 when he says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest." The context of Matthew 11, Jesus is speaking to weary and to burdened and spiritually just exhausted people. Right? They're burdened by religious performance. Like, I don't know how you grew up in the church or even what maybe your experience is now, but if you ever thought there were a lot of rules, man, it's nowhere compared to what the Jews had to go through. They had rules for everything. And then the Pharisees walked around as the rule enforcers, spiritual whistles, nope, you, nope, you, no. Right? Maybe some of us came from traditions like that, where some rules you know and most of them you don't know. The unspoken rules, you don't know it until someone side-eyes you. Like you just broke a rule. You ever been side-eyed in church? I had never been side-eyed. So we had a period of time where like kids are in the home. And then we had a period of time where kids, like little kids, weren't in the home. And now we've been like a year and a half with, again, little kids in the home. It's crazy, right? You guys know the 3-foot down rule? Some of you right now are like, what is that? See, you don't have kids in the home. It's where you look 3 feet down in your house, you go, what could kill my kid, right? Right? It's crazy. But then like coming to worship with them, one of the greatest goals of my life as a Gloria Day is never a side-eye church. You know, if you see a parent like with a kid, like don't side-eye them if the kid makes something. Offer to help. Bring like your own bag of like kids' treats and just hand them out to kids or whatever. I'm just saying like that'd be cool. Side-eye's not cool. Right? But these people were burdened because that was their entire existence. Right? They had Roman oppression, economic survival, honestly, just a list of expectations they could never meet. Of all the things that we could talk about, I truly believe this is one of the most important ones for our culture today. What is rest? How do you go about resting? Spoiler alert, it's not sleep or naps. Not this kind of rest. In our culture today, we really lead a burnout culture. As a culture, by and large, it kind of swings one way or the other. Like I was just down in Phoenix, so I got like a fresh take on the retired lifestyle. There's this side of me that's like, that's awesome. And this other side of me of like, what a waste. Like Jesus literally has a parable about someone who wanted to like retire from producing, meaning being of good, right? He had like all his barns built and food, and he's like, soul, I say to myself, soul, I will kick up my feet, relax, eat, drink, and be merry. And God literally says, you fool. Today your life is demanded of you. I'm not anti-retirement, by the way. You can retire from work. You just can't retire from God. There's a difference. Right? Instead of going into a season of life where it's like from like my optics of looking, and this might be just wildly judgmental, but like I literally heard a guy, they said they played 36 holes of golf in one day, and I was like, again, part of me says that's awesome, but it's like use all that gift, skill, and ability. Use all that stuff that's been stored up and like use it for kingdom good. Use it to build foundations of future generations can stand upon. Why waste it picking up seashell? I'm not saying don't go on vacation or go do cool experiences, but invest it. See, The parable was against a guy who stopped investing. And God goes, then. We have that side, but then we also have this other side of just families and individuals that it's just like, it's constant. We're a culture always on, always reachable, always producing, always connected, always evaluating ourselves, always evaluating others. It's just constantly dialed in. And I really think that's why, I think it's all already been there, but that's why like cell phones, social media, it just keeps you plugged in. It keeps you dialed in. Right? We got families that, it's not, my daughter's in this volleyball club, and we'll sit there and literally like half the conversation of families is just how exhausted they are. And how their families just, they're running all over and all this. I'm like, there's a part of me that's sympathetic and part of me that's just like, dude, you signed the form. You put your kid in 3 sports. Right? You did that. Under this guise that if you don't put your kid in all these different things, you're a bad parent. Like when you think of life, like what is it that burdens you? What creates a heaviness in your own soul or expectations that are just leading to this feeling of being worn out? Let me tell you what it's not. Shalom doesn't mean we don't have responsibilities. That's what we do in life. Responsibilities are good. I have lots of responsibilities. I'm a pastor, I'm a father, I'm a daddy, I'm a citizen, there's a lot of things. My calendar full. I don't get this right all the time. Sometimes it sneaks up, but if you find a piece of you have to pour your energy out one way or the other, it might as well be meaningful. So it's not absence of responsibilities, but it's the underlining expectations of why do I do the things I do. So it's like it's one thing to be a parent. It's another thing to have an expectation I have to be a perfect parent. It's one thing to have an expectation as a citizen. It's another thing to have this underlining thing that if it doesn't go right, it's all going to fall apart. There's like all this underlining why. That's what Jesus is talking about. See, I think maybe some struggle with maybe laziness. Laziness has to do with responsibilities. But I think more and more people, I don't think they struggle with laziness. I think we struggle with the feeling that we're never enough. It's never enough. More. See, I think the definition of rest has been hijacked, and so then we're confused. We've confused true rest with escapism. Right? Just go to Cancun, get some drinks, get on your phone, play some video games, do some online, whatever it is. They're just different forms of escapism. We've confused busyness with worth. You talk to families and they're, oh, we're so busy, we're so busy, we're so busy, almost like we're so important. And we've confused exhaustion with faithfulness. We've heard the lines, right? Work hard, play hard, I'll rest when I'm dead. It comes down to how we define rest. Like I remember I was able to spend a number of weeks when my sister was living in Paris, and I was over there visiting before seminary, and she said it took them a long time to figure this out, that the Europeans have a very distinct view of Americans. and she said over on repeat, she goes, oh, you Americans, you just live to work, but here in Europe we work so we can live. Now, you can think whatever you want of our brothers and sisters in Europe, but it's not wrong. Like, the viewpoint isn't entirely wrong. Is the goal of life to rest from work, or could there be a way that we could accomplish all the responsibilities, but we could actually work from a place of rest? Or better yet, could we allow Jesus to teach us what rest truly is? And that we were made from a place of rest, and we won't ever experience rest until we rest in him. And that is what Jesus is saying in Matthew 11. Notice he doesn't say, those of you who are weak and heavy laden, fix yourself. Try harder, manage your stress better. He says, those who are weak and heavy laden, come to me. Come to me. He's teaching us true rest is relational before it's behavioral. Come to me. He says, come to me and take my yoke upon you. The yoke was not only the teaching, but it was the literal piece of wood over two animals. And so he's saying, it's not like I'm removing yoke or expectations. I'm not removing responsibilities. I'm properly yoking you to the right source. See, the problem with lack of rest is it often comes not because I'm not yoked, it's what am I yoked to? What expectations do I live under, and who gave me those expectations? Where did those come from? Jesus says, come and yoke yourself to me. Don't carry it alone, and I will teach you how to live. He's not going to give you tips and tricks on how to fix yourself. He's going to go, I will teach you the way of life. I will teach you the stride. Notice when two animals are together, you can't just walk ahead of the other animal. They are linked. Jesus says, link yourself with me. Come, be yoked to me, for my heart is gentle and lowly. This is the only time Jesus talks about his heart explicitly. He demonstrates it all over the place, but he says, I'm not harsh, I'm not mean, I'm not overbearing, I won't hurt you. I'm good. I am good. I created you from my goodness, and you were made to find your goodness in me. I created you from rest, and you will find your rest in me. My heart is gentle and lowly, and notice you will find, say it with me, rest for your, this is different. He says, I'll give you rest, meaning this rest he offers is a gift, not a reward. It's not earned, it's not postponed, it's not conditional. He says, you don't have to prove anything to me before I give you this rest. You don't have to scrub your life up. You don't have to just get better. You don't have to first try it yourself and I'll be the last resort. He says, just do it. Just do it. Take my yoke. Again, Jesus is inviting us to a way of life. He says, come and let me teach you how to live without being crushed by life. So the rest we're talking about is only rest that Jesus can give. The world cannot give this. Sleep cannot give this rest, although we do need more sleep. Cancun can't give this rest. You're not going to vote this rest into your life. You're not going to buy this rest. It's not on Amazon. Your kids' accomplishments will never earn you this rest. Your marriage will never be best enough that now I'm in this rest. That's not what this rest is. This is a divine, unique gift of God that you either have it or you don't. You want it? If this was the state fair and there was a line for soul rest, would you get in that line? I would. How long would you wait? Would you cancel your schedule to get more of it? Are we too busy for rest? Am I too worried about having to accomplish, and if I don't do it, oh man, it's all going to fall apart? What would have to change in your life to take Jesus up on this offer? Are you willing to admit, this is the big question, are you willing to admit you don't have it all together and the way you're doing life might not be the most perfect of ways? See, if you say no, then you can't take Jesus up on a better way. I'm not saying any of us are going to do this perfectly. I certainly don't. But what does that mean? I mean, when you look out on culture, let's just, like, are we doing a bang-up job? When you look at the state of family, the state of marriages, the state of the world, when you look at, are we doing a good job on our own? Do we have the ingredients? No, that's the whole reason the Father sent the Son in the first place. He said, I did not send my Son into the world to condemn the world. I sent my Son to save the world from its condemnation. Jesus is the living way, the truth, and the life. There is no path outside of him. And he says, I am gentle and humble. Come to me. The invitation's wide open. Now, how? What does this look like? Well, one, I will tell you it's mysterious. So I don't have 3-step, silver bullet. But I can tell you, I can model a posture. And it would be to name the burden. Name the heaviness. Name the thing that I'm trying to control that's not in my control, trying to control an outcome that's not in my control, trying to gain approval from others, fearing things name the burden, the relationship you're trying, name the burden, name it. And then you literally get down on your knees to the Father, wherever it is you are, and in your mind picture yourself saying, Jesus, I give this to you. I trust you. And I open myself to allowing you to teach me how to truly live. You talk to him like a friend. You talk to him like a brother. You talk to him like a father. You just talk to him. But you literally say, take this off of me. And Jesus says that if you ask, if you seek, if you knock, I will open the door. It's a posture of humility, of surrender. He says, come to me. Come. Come. Quit plinko chipping all around life. Come. Come. There are very real life applications that come from a life in rest. And the rest is in our identity. As sons and daughters of the King, he alone sits in a place of sovereign control. Nations rise and nations fall, but God alone sits above it all. Never out of control, never confused. It brings rest. Right? True rest won't make us lazy, but rest in your soul will make you gentler, clearer. It'll make you more present with people in your life, less anxious, more loving. True soul rest, it won't remove the responsibilities from your life, but it will restore capacity for the things that God is calling of you in your life. In Matthew 11, Jesus is lovingly trying to pull the center of gravity away from whatever else is the pull of life and saying, let me be the center of gravity. Not just a compartment, not just a piece, but I will be the nucleus of your life that holds all of it together. Come to me. Let me be your why. Why? Seek first my kingdom and my righteousness, and all this will be added to you. Abide in me, and I will abide in you, and you will bear much fruit. But brothers, sisters, apart from me, you can do nothing. Come to me. This next week, or now, or whenever. What does it look like collectively here, online, what does it look like to take Jesus up on this open invitation to soul rest? He promised, and he always comes through on his promises. This next week, start with one thing. One thing in your life that you know is creating heaviness, burden. And bring that to Jesus, who says, "Come to me, yoke yourself to me. I will teach you how to live, and you will find rest for your souls." Jesus is the giver of shalom. May you find rest in him. Amen.